Megyn Kelly has weighed in on Meghan Markle's failed plan to bag a billionaire as her marriage to Prince Harry becomes more unhappy by the day.
She will find a way to bounce past him to some other taker who might actually just love the guy. She will take her royal kids, who can still go by Prince and Princess, and find the billionaire.
Meghan Markle is always attempting to, shall we say, build relationships with very, very, very rich men.
Harry just can't give her anything else anymore. He served his purpose. His purpose is over, and they're no longer aligned in purpose. So for her, it's time to move on.
Less than 24 hours ago, quiet chatter exploded into full-blown online buzz. Meghan Markle was reportedly seen dining with a wealthy businessman in Dubai, and suddenly, the internet went into overdrive.
If he's there, that she's still married. I mean, this woman's going to keep trying to get elevated with the next man because that's what she wants. Because, Harry at this point doesn't even have enough money for her. And so she needs to find the man that's going to really give her what she wants financially.
At the same time, Prince Harry is being described by commentators as watching his royal relevance continue to fade, at least in the public eye. And we're expected to believe this was just a random low-key dinner? Be serious.
Royal family, you should be so thankful this woman wanted to leave because she's not going to bring any good to the branding of royal. She's going to downgrade it to a level of ghetto, and that's what it is. This is just bad.
This didn't look accidental, and it definitely didn't look private. From a PR perspective, moments like this rarely happen without intention, especially when cameras and headlines magically follow. Meghan isn't just stepping out, she's stepping forward. As Harry's connection to the royal brand appears to weaken, Meghan seems to be signaling a new phase, one that places her firmly in control. No hiding, no playing small, just confidence in plain sight, and that bold approach has always been part of her public image. There was no effort to keep things quiet. No low profile, no backdoor exits, just a very visible appearance that instantly set social media on fire. If you've followed this saga long enough, you know this fits a familiar pattern.
Speaking of the reality show, the cooking show, I saw the same story. She's already tired of selling the jams and jellies. She's like, well, we might restock in 2026. I think there's no demand. I also think she's lazy. I don't think she wants to work. They don't want to work. They want to twerk and sit around and film videos. So I think she should actually run for office because Meghan Markle, you're lazy.
Observers are already speculating that Meghan is repositioning herself while Harry drifts further into the background. Fair or not, that's the narrative gaining traction online. The contrast is sharp and people are noticing. Let's be honest, Meghan Markle is known for carefully managing her public presence. Every appearance, every smile, every casual moment often lands exactly where it generates the most attention. So when she's suddenly linked to extreme wealth and luxury, it feeds directly into that image. Meanwhile, reports paint Harry as staying mostly out of sight in Montecito, dealing with a quieter, less glamorous reality than many once imagined. The irony hasn't gone unnoticed by critics. Commentators are also revisiting old claims, including Meghan's past statements about not fully understanding royal life. Some now question whether expectations clashed with reality once the fairy tale faded.
That Meghan Markle really did expect Harry to be a billionaire when she met him. She was incredibly disappointed to find out he's only worth a couple million, and she's gonna have to actually work and hawk these jams and jellies and dog biscuits to have the lifestyle that she wants.
Now, with Harry's role within the monarchy continuing to shrink publicly, Meghan appears focused on a solo brand path. Strategic appearances, polished optics, and very public dinners are all part of that picture. Is this calculated reinvention or just coincidence? Time will tell. But one thing is clear. This story isn't over, and the next headline may already be writing itself. Right now, Meghan appears to be working overtime to keep her name in the spotlight as several pillars of her public image start to wobble. Industry chatter suggests streaming deals are uncertain, royal ties are fading, and even the marriage narrative is under intense scrutiny. And yes, that brings us to the phrase everyone keeps dancing around, the so-called trial separation. It's not being called a divorce, but let's not pretend this looks like a healthy, unified partnership. When couples start using phrases like time apart and separate professional paths, that's usually PR language doing heavy lifting. If you've been casually watching the royal media cycle, you've probably noticed the whispers have turned into a full-blown online storm. Outlets like Vanity Fair and Page Six are all circling the same storyline, living apart, focusing on individual projects, reassessing priorities. That's not romance. That's reputation management. Let's be honest. You don't test a trial separation unless things are already deeply strained. And in this case, the pressure isn't just personal, it's professional. The Sussex brand itself appears to be under real stress. Spotify already exited the picture, and Netflix is reportedly reassessing long-term plans. That's not collapse, but it's not confidence either. At the same time, Meghan has been pivoting toward lifestyle ventures, including a product rollout that insiders say hasn't landed the way it was hoped to.
I mean, she flirts openly with other men. I remember when she was at that tennis match, looked like she was flirting with Serena Williams' husband, like with her skirt and just how she just looks at men. Harry, it doesn't matter.
Meanwhile, Harry is still publicly anchored to the Invictus Games, one of the few spaces where his role remains clearly defined. That commitment makes sense, but the contrast is noticeable. What really stands out isn't just the rumored separation, it's how loud it feels without any official statement. No palace confirmation, no joint message, no united front. And yet, everyone seems to sense that something has shifted. Commentators note that Meghan continues to appear publicly, camera-ready and polished, while Harry has largely stepped back from visibility. Fair or not, that difference fuels speculation. There's also growing discussion around who initiated the space. Reports and observers suggest Meghan may be driving that decision, which fits a familiar public pattern seen before. And let's not sugarcoat this. If the separation were truly just about solo projects, why is there silence whenever Harry faces negative press? No visible support, no coordinated response, no joint reassurance. That's why many critics argue this no longer looks like a partnership. It looks like a brand unwinding, a business model losing alignment.
But this woman is nothing but a publicity whore. It's a term of art. We broke the news that she had Prince Harry on her vision board when she was younger. That was her goal, #goal, to marry Prince Harry. So it was all about getting the title. She's done that now. Now she's just stuck with this depressed ginger who has absolutely no family, no friends, and no money. This was not part of the plan.
Meghan appears focused on a carefully curated solo path, while Harry seems stuck processing how a modern fairy tale shifted into something far quieter. Whether this is a pause or a permanent pivot remains to be seen, but the trajectory feels increasingly clear. One minute, he's the prince who walked away for love. The next, he's watching that same love turn into a headline he can't control. That contrast alone tells you how fast this story flipped. Now here's where the commentary gets especially spicy. According to long-circulating royal gossip and insider claims, Meghan didn't just fall for Harry's rebel image and royal title. Some royal commentators allege she expected a lifestyle that matched global billionaire circles, not just symbolic status. Yes, those claims suggest she may have believed marrying a prince meant unlimited luxury, private jets, historic estates, and access to the very top tier of wealth.
To be honest, we know Harry is not the smartest tool in the shed. He's just like, yeah, of course I'm meeting up with X because we need to talk business, we need money, we've got this lifestyle, we need these private jets, etc., etc., etc.
The fairy tale image many people assume comes with royalty. Instead, the reality reportedly looked very different. A modest royal residence, limited autonomy, and a financial structure that shocked many outsiders. That gap between expectation and reality has been dissected endlessly by royal watchers. Royal biographer Tom Quinn has written that palace staff were surprised by how unprepared Meghan appeared for the practical side of royal life. According to those accounts, the shock wasn't emotional, it was structural, the difference between the myth of royalty and the mechanics of it. Some commentators argue that this moment changed everything. Once it became clear Harry wasn't an heir, wasn't in control, and wasn't sitting on unlimited resources, the narrative reportedly shifted. And here's the part critics find especially telling. Several analysts claim Harry himself didn't dwell on being the spare until it was reframed that way within the relationship. Fair or not, that idea took root and reshaped how the couple presented their story publicly. From there, the messaging evolved. Interviews leaned into grievance, projects leaned into victimhood, and the fairy tale was rewritten into something darker and more marketable.
Meghan is living a life that she's winning and she's doing all these great things, but the reality is not that. The reality is she's a joke. It's embarrassing at this point. It's like, oh my gosh, for real, Meghan, you did that? You're gonna keep doing this? I mean, wow.
Let's be clear though. Meghan isn't naive. She understands media cycles, optics, and how to command attention. That's why critics argue it's not unreasonable to think expectations were sky high going in. What she got instead, according to observers, was a deeply wounded prince with unresolved family trauma, limited institutional power, and finances that required real budgeting. Not exactly the fantasy many people associate with royalty. When that illusion cracked, commentators say the reinvention began. New narratives, new branding, and eventually, new social circles. That's why people are watching the billionaire connections and solo positioning so closely now. To critics, it doesn't look random. It looks strategic. And Harry. Some say he's only now realizing that the role he played in the story may not be the one he thought he signed up for. Which brings us to the moment many viewers can't stop replaying. The viral clip, Meghan being asked whether she sees herself married forever, and that pause, that blinking, that hesitation. Whether intentional or not, it landed like a plot twist no one expected. And from there, the speculation only gets louder. Let's rewind to that moment, because it still hits hard. The question was simple. Do you think you'll be married forever?
Because these billionaires can sense one thing. When you're not looking for a partner, you're looking for a solution. And that's obviously the lane that Meghan Markle's in now. She doesn't make really her own money. This whole Netflix thing is just a ruse. We all know this is made up just to give her something to do. Her miraculous renewal for her second season, which was already shot in full by the time the first season was done, meaning they just made some extra episodes and decided to roll out a fake second season as a PR plan, hasn't fooled anybody.
Technically, the answer was yes, but her expression told a very different story. The pause, the blinking, the awkward half smile, it felt like a full system lag caught on camera. That wasn't confidence. That wasn't romance. That was hesitation wrapped in media training. 5 blinks, a slight shrug, and a smile that looked like it needed a software update. If there was ever a visible PR glitch, that was it. People called it subtle, but it really wasn't. You didn't need body language experts breaking it down frame by frame. Anyone who's lived through a shaky relationship could recognize that moment instantly. That wasn't reassurance. It was emotional distance. It didn't suggest forever. It suggested obligation, uncertainty, and a carefully managed answer delivered under pressure. The internet didn't imagine that tension. It clocked it. And here's what made it explode even more. That clip resurfaced the same week rumors about high-profile social dinners started circulating. Coincidence? Maybe. But in the world of optics and timing, it felt like another perfectly placed plot twist. What's more telling is that the blinking wasn't a one-off.
A new poll reveals that the declining arc of Harry's popularity has accelerated into a high-speed plummet.
In recent interviews, her tone has shifted. Less warmth, fewer personal details, and almost no direct references to Harry at all. Instead, we hear broad phrases about growth, healing, and personal evolution. That kind of language doesn't scream couple goals. It sounds like someone quietly repositioning their narrative. Fair or not, that's how audiences are reading it. Meanwhile, Harry continues making charity appearances, staying loyal to shared branding and public commitments. The contrast couldn't be sharper. He's still carrying the Sussex identity front and center, while she appears to be stepping into something more solo-focused. Critics argue the brand has already shifted. Not loudly, not publicly, but strategically. No dramatic statements, no messy interviews, just silence paired with polished appearances. That infamous blinking moment now feels less like nerves and more like a preview. A pause before a pivot. A quiet signal before the storyline changes. Meghan doesn't appear to be playing domestic fairy tale anymore. Commentators suggest she's operating with long-term optics in mind. Every pause, every non-answer, every carefully chosen word nudges the narrative forward. And Harry?
This woman is being paid millions of dollars to show how to cut into a pineapple.
Oh my God. Who the hell is sated by one tiny little bite of pineapple?
Are you taking cooking advice from Meghan Markle in the kitchen?
No, I wouldn't take any of the advice on her show.
Many feel he's still processing a story that's already moved on without him. So let's stop framing the silence as confusion. To critics, it looks deliberate, controlled, a masterclass in quiet detachment. No defenses, no public unity campaigns, no glossy declarations of togetherness. Just space. And in this saga, space speaks volumes. The silence is the story. No statements, no denials, no cozy photo drops. Just that carefully curated quiet that feels louder than any press release. And here's the thing critics keep pointing out. When Meghan goes silent, it rarely reads as retreat. It reads like preparation. Because while the noise stopped, the branding shifted fast. Her public image has been quietly streamlined, refined, and noticeably detached from anything joint. No shared identity, no couple-first messaging, just her name, her face, her projects front and center. Observers say this doesn't look accidental. It looks intentional. A slow, polished transition rolled out with the precision of a luxury launch rather than a messy breakup. Less royal protocol, more Silicon Valley branding.
She's already gotten the benefit of her bargain with Harry because she got the title. That's what she wanted. She wanted to be world famous. She wanted the title. You remember when Harry was single, he was the elephant. He was the one, the most eligible bachelor on earth. You could be a royal, you could become world famous overnight. You could live in a castle, you could have access to the crown jewels, you would be a princess. My God, yes, he could have had his pick.
Long before royal life, Meghan was media trained, red carpet ready, and fluent in camera language. She didn't need the institution to create visibility. She used it to amplify momentum. And now that chapter appears to be closing. Critics argue she knows exactly when to hold back and exactly when to let narratives drift into the press. And those narratives have been noticeably consistent. Commentary suggesting emotional exhaustion, creative differences, and a desire for distance from ongoing royal drama. That framing has raised eyebrows, not because it's shocking, but because it feels curated. Harry's long been publicly open about his struggles and his past. None of this is new, which is why some see this less as surprise and more as positioning. From a branding perspective, it resembles an emotional exit before any formal one. A gradual fade from power couple to individual identity. No dramatic announcements, just distance. And notably, there's been no push for a joint narrative, no united messaging, no coordinated reassurance. That absence speaks volumes to media analysts. Instead, commentators speculate about a future solo reset, a glossy magazine profile, reflective language about growth and healing, carefully framed personal evolution. Not framed as loss, framed as renewal. The public tends to respond to that storyline. A calm reinvention arc often lands well, especially when paired with lifestyle branding and softer imagery. Meanwhile, Harry continues to reference shared history and shared purpose in public settings. That contrast keeps fueling discussion. This silence doesn't read as confusion to critics. It reads as foreshadowing, a pause before a pivot. And Meghan? Observers say she isn't just turning the page, she's already writing the next chapter. Carefully, quietly, with timing that feels anything but accidental. Whether that strategy succeeds or backfires remains to be seen. But one thing is clear, this silence isn't empty. It's loaded. The timing, the leaks, the silence, it's all starting to feel a little too precise, and people are clocking it. Online chatter suggests Hollywood isn't exactly rolling out the welcome mat anymore, and the mood has shifted fast. The same industry crowd that once leaned into the Duchess glow now appears noticeably cooler. Instead of red carpets, the buzz now circles around lifestyle clips and curated posts that feel more aspirational than influential. And in Hollywood, that difference matters.
Netflix will, allow their relationship with Prince Harry to expire, but they are holding on tightly to Meghan to work with Meghan in hopes that if there is a divorce, they would get the exclusive and pounce on that access to Meghan because they know that that's the next big thing that would sell.
Executives and elite circles tend to pull back the moment something feels forced. Here's the thing insiders keep hinting at. Power players don't respond well to desperation, especially when it's wrapped in soft lighting and carefully staged authenticity. And lately, critics argue that the image being projected feels overly managed rather than magnetic. The whispers coming from commentary spaces aren't calling her misunderstood anymore. They're calling her calculated, not in a commanding, visionary way, but in a what's the next move kind of way. And that distinction matters in elite circles. One particularly blunt media comment making the rounds summed it up like this: the attempt to appear ultra-normal isn't landing anymore. The performance feels tired, and the charm that once opened doors doesn't seem to be working the same way.
Now they're saying they're not even sure if she's going to make more jam. That thing's already dwindling on the vine. Everything she touches turns to shit. And I think every sort of creative person behind her or deep pocket behind her knows it's an extraordinary risk. She's too toxic to touch.
And when it comes to ultra-wealthy circles, analysts say motive is easy to spot. People at that level value discretion, stability, and low drama. Right now, the headlines don't signal calm. They signal complication. That perception matters. Because when narratives shift from aspirational to tabloid-coded, interest fades quickly. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly and decisively. Then there was the moment many observers say changed the tone entirely. That panel appearance where an old, familiar story was retold yet again. This time, the room didn't respond the way it once did. Instead of applause, there was an interruption. Polite, firm, and unmistakable. Not an insult, not an attack, just a reminder that recycled narratives don't always land twice. Commentators saw it as a signal, not of hostility, but of fatigue. A moment where the audience collectively moved on. That's the real issue critics point to. It's not about being bold or outspoken, it's about repetition. Once the seams start showing, Hollywood notices. And in that environment, perception shifts fast. When people sense the performance instead of the person, they disengage. So now, observers argue we're watching a fairy tale quietly dissolve, not with chaos, but with distance. No dramatic declarations, just a slow repositioning. Whatever happens next, many believe the marriage already feels finished in spirit.
Have you ever seen that video?
No.
Pull that video up, because it's one of my favorite.
Trick that people do with pineapple, instead of just cutting it to make the perfect little bite, you follow the wedge. When nature has given you all the cues on how to have a perfect taste of something.
Oh, how fun is that? I love it.
The branding has moved on, the energy has shifted, and the silence speaks louder than words. And whether the paperwork exists or not, the public narrative appears to be writing its own ending, right in front of us. And Harry is still standing there, heart in one hand, a half-used Netflix deal in the other, looking around like he just realized his co-star quietly left the set without saying goodbye. That image alone says everything, because this isn't just about a breakup. It's a front-row seat to what happens when image outruns intention, when the performance starts feeling more real than the relationship itself. Think about it. Meghan entered the royal storyline as a divorced actress with a lifestyle blog and big ambition. She exits with 2 royal children, global name recognition, and a media footprint that reads like a strategic case study. Fair or not, critics argue she treated the crown like a launch pad, not a legacy. To observers, it looks less like heartbreak and more like logistics. Archived posts, refined branding, and a narrative already moving forward. That's not emotional collapse. That's operational distance.
Meghan ruined Harry. Now that the once carefree, fun-loving prince has turned into a miserable moaner, lashing out from the depths of his paranoia at a world he thinks is conspiring against him.
Meanwhile, Harry appears stuck in slow motion. No central royal role, no dominant brand momentum, and no clear lane forward. He walked away from one world and never fully landed in the other. That's the real tension here. A man caught between identities, giving up home, status, and reputation for a partnership that now feels one-sided in public perception. And let's be real. If you still think this is just a rough patch, the signs suggest otherwise. This looks like a soft launch separation wrapped in independence language and lifestyle content. Commentators say Meghan isn't co-piloting this anymore. She appears already positioned for the next phase, while Harry seems frozen at baggage claim, waiting for something that isn't coming back. The signs aren't subtle. The pauses, the blinks, the strategic quiet, the carefully timed appearances. This didn't collapse suddenly. It unraveled methodically. To critics, this wasn't a fairy tale that failed. It was a calculated partnership that reached its expiration date. The Sussex saga began with rebellion and explosive headlines, but it's fading out quietly, through distance and detachment. Meghan appears already deep into the next chapter. Harry, on the other hand, looks like he's still flipping backward, searching for the page where it all felt real. But that chapter feels closed, filed somewhere between royal rebellion and brand fallout. So now it's your turn. What do you think? Was this the biggest royal hustle of the decade? Or did Harry fall for a fairy tale that was never really about him? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm reading them all. And if you want more deep dives into celebrity twists, royal drama, and the stories behind the headlines, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications.